Ready to learn the differences between ChatGPT and Google Bard when it comes to the operations of your business? In this video, I wanted to do something fun and something different at the same time. I wanted to have both Google Bard and ChatGPT open on my windows, and I want to go through the prompts that I used in last year's video that I did on how to use ChatGPT for operations. So then we can see, one, how much ChatGPT has improved in the last year, and also how Bard can compare to it. I was gonna do a whole video on how to use Bard for operations, but I thought like, hey, maybe something like this would be a little bit more fun. So the rest of this video is gonna be me just screen sharing because, to be totally honest with you guys, today has been a cluster of a lot of things that are not working out for me to get this video recorded. And for one reason or the other, I can only just do it on my laptop at a different place. So I'm going to be doing just that, where I'll be screen recording just over my laptop, showing you guys the differences between the two. And then you'll see me right back at the end. So make sure to watch until the end of this video because I am going to still share something really cool about Bard and ChatGPT that you guys don't want to miss. Okay, so we've got ChatGPT and Google Bard on here basically loaded up. So kind of just as a refresher, this is what they look like when they have nothing on here. I clicked on new chat for both of them. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to go back and forth between different ChatGPT prompts that I've already used before, and then comparing them with how they do with Bard. Now, the main goal for this is kind of compared how they both do when it comes to prompts on how to build your business or grow your business as well. Now, first off, I do want to cover that basically I really recommend that when you're starting to use ChatGPT or using Bard is you use the WOAH method. It's basically who you are, what you do, the outcome that you need, asking it just are you ready, and then the how basically, or how you wanted to create the outcome or the output that you need. So as an example, again, we'll use the same primary prompt on here. So I've just put here of like, hello, I'm Lacaba. I run a remote executive services agency in the Philippines. Would love to brainstorm with you about ideas I have using ChatGPT as an entrepreneur. So I'll add here remote executive assistant services. That way we can be more specific. So the main reason that you want to use the WOAH method is it gives basically the AI in general, not just ChatGPT or Bard, just context on who you are and what you do. Next is you are again being specific, hopefully more specific. We'll go through that later on what are the different tasks that you want it to do, or basically to prep it on what it can expect. Generally asking it, are you ready, is usually just to get a yes or no answer from ChatGPT or from Bard. And then the how we'll put on later. So I'll put it actually at the end. You ready? Let me know if you understand. So I'll do the same thing here. I want to hit enter on both. So this way, hopefully you guys can see the differences between kind of the two. So both are kind of the same of just like saying hello to me, saying that it understands, and please go ahead and share your ideas. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to ask both Bard and ChatGPT to create our business plan. So for example, here, I'll just put again the same prompt for both of can you create a business plan to add operating systems to my agency as part of our services. So I'll do both the same way. Now, by the way, I've never done this before. I actually had them by side. Only usually use one with the other basically. So I'm excited to see how detailed or the differences between the two. Okay, so start off kind of the same way. We have the executive summary on here. You can see though right off the bat that ChatGPT is a little bit more detailed. We have the marketing analysis, again, same thing. So it's asking for more details on here versus ChatGPT that kind of just jumped into assuming basically what it is that you need. So here, unfortunately, I can create a complete business plan without further information. Here, it just really, again, did the rule assumption of like, oh, agency name, mission, and then, overview, blah, blah, blah. So it just created the outline here. Here, it asks for more information as well. But here, services offered, pricing strategy, marketing and sales, operations and infrastructure, team and staffing, financial projection. So it has a little bit more. Oh, no, actually, it's about the same. There's some challenges at the very end, and then we have the conclusion as well. So the only leg up, I guess, for Bard is it does have the additional tips, and then of course with the ChatGPT, it's a little bit more detailed and does just assume basically what it is that you're asking it for. So that's the first test that I wanted to do, which is very interesting, the way that they're kind of the same format, but ChatGPT was a little bit more formal there. Next is you can use Bard and ChatGPT when it comes to creating processes or SOPs that
these setting procedures for your business. Now, this is something that I've used a lot, that I encourage a lot of people to start creating in their business, because of course this becomes kind of the recipe book for your business. So I'll just put on here, can you create a process for onboarding a client into my business with the add-on service? So just being, again, very specific. It's always best that you are specific as much as possible when you are using either Bard or ChatGPT, because of course you get the best answers. Now it is now writing out for both. So you see, ChatGPT kind of just went on it. Bard is kind of taking a little bit longer. This is not really a full versus round. I could have written it in that way, but it says absolutely. And of course, because it didn't assume, it's still kind of asking like, what were you talking about again? We have the pre-onboarding, the onboarding, the post-onboarding, additional tips, so on and so forth. Let's go to ChatGPT. So this is just like, I put on here. Basically, the difference is Bard broke it off to different stages versus ChatGPT kind of just walked you through what the process looks like. So that's an interesting kind of, yeah, a little bit of interesting separation between the two. Communication plan, quality assurance, training. Yeah, it's a little bit the same, but at the same time different. So I like that we were able to see that difference between the two. And of course, I always like Bard, honestly, for that is the fact that it does do like additional things. Like, here's an additional advice, here's additional things that you can add. I've seen Bard do that more and more before. So that's cool that it keeps showing up here. So basically, the second thing that you can do with both is you can use it, of course, when it comes to creating your processes. Now, the third one is creating templates. Now, the biggest reason why we're still using the same thread for both is then it has a little bit more context on who we are, what we do. You don't have to keep repeating. However, I do recommend that if you are going to full on use either Bard or ChatGPT for certain tasks, is you stick to what I like to call your task GPT. So every time that you're repeating this task, you're just going to this particular thread, basically, either in Bard or ChatGPT. That way it makes it a little bit easier for you to just go back and forth and not have to keep repeating yourself over and over again. However, you can keep using the WOAH method, basically having the same intro, but asking for a different outcome or output basically every single time. So on creating templates, so let's go ahead and I'll copy this. So it's basically, can you create an email template for onboarding new clients based off of the information above to prep them? So same thing. And this is going to be an interesting thing because I've noticed ChatGPT writes a little bit more formal than Bard. And honestly, when it comes to writing emails, I usually use Bard more than ChatGPT at times, mostly because Bard has a cool thing where you can have it shared as a draft right into your Gmail, which is very helpful. But you can see here, on behalf of the entire team, we're thrilled to welcome you. What to expect in the next coming weeks, discovery calls. So basically what it gave already, gave it as a good bullet point that would be easy to follow, get ready to X, Y, and Z, sincerely, and then of course the cool additional tips. So if we go back up here for ChatGPT, so this is the thing that I always find with ChatGPT is it really writes too formally. Like, you kind of can really tell that it was written by an AI. So I hope this email finds you well. So let me go back up here on Bard. We're thrilled, so they kind of use even the same kind of language. We're thrilled to welcome you, blah, blah, blah. We trust your agency. Your trust in our services is truly appreciated. So just with that, again, it sounds very formal. It sounds like an AI wrote it, not a human being. Especially this part here, as part of our commitment to providing comprehensive support. So again, it really just sounds written by an AI or written too formally rather than something more casual, which Bard actually does excel at creating. So that's kind of the difference between the two. This is something I kind of already knew. When it comes to writing emails, is Bard is a little bit easier or just closer to how people would usually write things versus with ChatGPT being a little bit more clunky or chunky, basically, for lack of a better term. Next is you can then use AI when it comes to creating assets for your business. So if, for example, in your business, you've kind of been doing things on your own, you haven't really formalized what the assets basically look like in your business, Bard or ChatGPT can make that a little bit easier for you to be able to do. So here we'll create an asset of basically the target audience in your business. So the prompt is very straightforward. It's just, can you write up a target audience for my business? I'll be more specific, that I can give to my sales and marketing team. So I'll paste basically the same for both. We'll basically see how the two kind of compare. Of course, again, ChatGPT kind of launches into a more formal writing. And here, it's again, because we didn't give it information, Bard isn't assuming. So it's kind of a little bit disappointing that it's not just kind of researching what are the usual types of companies. It's just asking more and more questions versus with ChatGPT, it is just a little bit just assuming of the kind of businesses that we target just based off of the description that I had in the beginning of the WOAH method. So here, SMEs with 20 to 500 employees, startups in early to growth stages, these are the decision makers. So pain points, limited and admin support. That's basically us. Workflow inefficiencies, strategic growth goals, and technology adoption. So this is actually already really, really good of things that I could just tweak myself versus, again, sadly for Bard, you do have to be a little bit more specific on what it is. So I will add a little bit of more specific things into Bard. In fact, what I'll do just for fun is we'll put here ideal client profile, and we'll just literally copy and put something from ChatGPT. Create the info packet I can give to my sales and marketing team. So I'm just basically like, hey, okay, here's the information that you asked for. Basically, since it's coming from ChatGPT, and then there you go. Then it's writing it out. Industry focus, company size, decision makers, needs and pain points. So there you go. Common challenges. Okay. So it's more specific on the BOS basically, or what we asked it for. And again, those additional notes. So it's a little bit better, but again, I do like that ChatGPT kind of already assumes and looks up what are the common pain points for how I describe my business and where I want to add more things into it. Next is you can also use both tools, both ChatGPT and Bard, when it comes to just doing a little bit of a basic tool research. Now, the main thing to keep in mind though, with the differences between the two is for Bard, it is a little bit more up to date on its info versus ChatGPT. It is still kind of stuck at 2022. So it's still kind of there, unless of course you pay for ChatGPT Plus, where you get access to the internet. If you're just using the basics of ChatGPT, which what we have here is 3.5, then you don't have the most updated information. So here we'll ask it, can you recommend some top-rated tools for customer relationship management? I need tools that are easy to use and can integrate with my existing system. So I will chat that into ChatGPT. And of course, we'll do that the same thing for Bard. So here it's giving, HubSpot, is usually a very common one, Salesforce, Zoho CRM, Pipedrive, Fresh Sales Notes. Again, this is kind of frozen to what is currently, or what was currently out there in 2022. Versus here, and it's funny because you'll see that it's kind of the same list as well. So kind of the same of like HubSpot CRM, Soho CRM. It's giving you a little bit of just kind of just a minimum of the description for each. So what you can add here is create a pros and cons table for each tool. So we'll enter that into Bard. Of course, we'll also enter that into ChatGPT and see how each kind of creates one or the other. So this is kind of the cool thing that I like with both is because they will create that table for you. So on Bard is basically very straightforward, has different columns for each of the tool, and then kind of pricing. I do like that since Bard has access to the internet, it has more of the information like their pricing, the ease of use, the integrations basically. And the cool thing is you can click this and it exports to sheets. So if you want this to become a Google spreadsheet that you can share with your team, you can easily do that. And of course, it also breaks it down here. For ChatGPT, since we just asked it to break down the pros and cons for each, it just basically did this. I do like, again, because Bard broke down the pricing, the ease of use, integration, so on and so forth, things that I would look at as a business owner. When it comes to research, Bard definitely reigns supreme on this side. However, ChatGPT, you can ask it specific questions on what else that you need, and it can probably come up with what Bard created, but not as specific. Next is, of course, you can use either AI when it comes to planning events and meetings. So for example, I'll just put here, can you write up a plan of a successful L10 meeting based on the traction book? So here I even put in a reference of the kind of meeting that I want. So you can do this with almost anything. Of course, when it comes to onboarding meetings, when it comes to meetings with difficult conversations, like you need to give someone feedback, you can ask both ChatGPT and Bard on how to be able to deliver on that. So let me hit enter on both. Now, one thing that we can, I think, change on Bard is I think I can change it where it'll show up basically all in one go, the response. But for now, it's actually pretty good. So plan for a successful L10 meeting based on traction. So we have the preparation, the agenda, which I like. This is coming from the book itself. Materials, preparation. I like that there's separation for execution. And then, of course, the additional tips. Now let's go up here. Same thing. We have the preparation, the meeting execution, the segue scorecard. So again, a little bit more detailed from ChatGPT on the agenda, even though they put in the same thing. I like that it did add the post-meeting follow-up as well, and then continuous improvement. So that's pretty cool between the two. ChatGPT does give a little bit more detailed answer, and I do like that with Bard. This is a good way to kind of as a refresher if you've done it for a while, and ChatGPT if you've made have just do it once or twice and you kind of want to have more guided way to do it. So again, that's a good difference on both. So you can use this again if you are planning out events in your business. If, for example, when we did our Christmas party last year, we've used both Bard and ChatGPT to be able to get ideas for games, for things we can do, for activities that we can do with our employees. So that's just a cool thing that you can also do using both AI. Next is you can use both when it comes to creating your marketing plans or even improving on current marketing plans that you have. So using this prompt, basically, what are some effective strategies for creating a marketing plan for my business? I want to grow, so again, being more specific, from 800 plus followers on LinkedIn for the company profile to say 1,500 as a general goal. So let's do that. Let's see how both also respond. This one I haven't really fully tested a lot as when it comes to creating strategies, which one is better. So I'm excited to see. So first, of course, then ChatGPT breaks down, define your target audience, very much the same as what Bard is saying, set smart goals. Here it's just optimize your LinkedIn company profile, business schedules, so on and so forth. Optimize, same thing, publish valuable content, leverage employee advocacy, utilize paid advertising, so on and so forth. So again, very similar. However, for me, I would probably look at a mix of both, just because like ChatGPT has more tips, but for Bard, it dived into a little bit more on what those tips are. So that's a cool way to see the difference between the two as well. Next is, as it's creating your marketing strategy, you can ask it to create the draft of the social media posts basically for your business. Now, I do say draft always, is never use ChatGPT or Bard as your final draft. This is something you post right away or you use as an asset or an output. Always edit it as much as you can. What I'll put on here is, can you provide some ideas for creating engaging social media posts for my business? Again, it has context from the previous prompt that we put on there. Let's put that into the two of them and see. So we have visual storytelling, user-generated content. We have polls and surveys, quotes and inspiration, theme days and weeks, so on and so forth. Here we have content variety. So industry insight tips, behind the scenes, client testimonials, interactive content, so on and so forth. So engagement, and then a few things to remember. So here it's just giving us the list basically of different things that we can add to our repertoire of content to create. And then here it's mostly like, hey, content variety, engagement strategy, so on and so forth. So it's kind of hard to decide between the two. It depends on what I'm really looking for. But those are both kind of really good responses already. Another really favorite thing of mine to do with both AI is I'll ask it to act as a certain person that I follow and give me advice on my business on a specific thing. Now, since we just talked about marketing, I will focus on that. So I'll actually write this a little bit live of acting as Alex Hermosi, since it's someone I'm currently following at the moment. Give me advice on what are the things I can add in my marketing to bring in more leads. So I'm just asking it the same for both. Again, Bard will have the more up-to-date content for Alex Hermosi in this case, but it will try to act for ChatGPT, at least based off of the information that it has gotten so far. It will grab basically based on what I asked for. So this is something I like to do from time to time when I'm really stuck and I have this mentor or someone I have in mind who I really like their content and the way that they think of things, is I will ask AI to act as them and give me advice based on the thing that I'm stuck on. So it's just a cool little thing. So, okay, so this is interesting. So I've seen Bard do this a couple of times where I will ask it to act as someone or give advice to someone and will make this error of, I don't have enough information, when it gets stuck, basically, when it doesn't know what to do, it'll give me this error message. Versus, again, for ChatGPT, it kind of assumed and kind of grabbed information from what is out there. Ooh, it's a little bit broken a little bit here. But it gave me information that I can actually use versus Bard is kind of stuck. So I can give it more or edit basically the prompt here. So here I said instead of act as, I would say from Alex Ramosey's contents instead of act as or pretending you are. Let's see how Bard responds to that. So you know what? I'm also going to do the same here with ChatGPT. I'm going to edit the same prompt of giving advice, same thing from Alex Ramosey's content. So basically, Bard just a little bit stuck. ChatGPT isn't. There you go. It's already giving me content from Alex Ramosey. So it's kind of one disadvantage a little bit with Bard. Now, my theory of why Bard does this is Bard is still kind of new to interacting with people. It's still, I think, less than a year versus ChatGPT has been around for a year and 3 months now. It's kind of still kind of getting used to how people ask, how people put in prompts, basically. So it's a little bit kind of like a kid still kind of figuring out versus ChatGPT's kind of been around. It's been understanding people. I remember when ChatGPT would give me that same error message, basically, whereas now it's not doing that anymore, and now Bard is doing that more and more. So that's kind of the difference between the two. Now, the last thing that I'll add on here is this is a cool thing that came out a few days ago is Bard can now start generating images. So I'll ask it to generate a logo for the business name 2XU, providing virtual assistant services with BOS. So I'm just going to ask that. I've never actually tried asking it for a logo before. I did ask it to generate an image and it was kind of pretty cool. So on Bard, very, very coolly, and this is funny because this is very close to kind of what our logo looks like. Already gave me some points of it. And with ChatGPT, you can't do that yet unless you pay for ChatGPT Plus and you put in a plugin. But what you can do with ChatGPT is write me a prompt for an AI generating images for a logo for business name 2XU, providing virtual service with BOS. So what this will do is it will give you the prompt that you can use to give basically to things like Midjourney or so many other AI image generating services out there that you can use. But it can give you just the prompt, basically what to follow, which is actually pretty cool. And of course, then you can also give this to a graphic artist to be able to do. So let me give this actually. I want to experiment this of generate a series of distinctive virtual logo concepts for 2XU. So let's see how it generates it from the prompt that we got from ChatGPT. So I can't generate image of that. So let's make this, let's edit this prompt a little bit. Create generate logo concepts for 2XU. Let's see what it will do. I just basically edited the distinctive and versatile logo concepts. Again, ChatGPT giving us the longer versions of it. So again, not yet. So Bard might not be the best example for that. However, I do still want to keep experimenting and showing you guys while I have your attention. So I'm going to go into Canva actually. So on Canva, if you guys haven't tried it yet, we have Magic Media on here. So I'm going to paste literally the thing that we got from ChatGPT and see if Canva has a better luck on doing it versus Bard, where it's only been a few days since it came out with a generate image feature, basically. So we want to see how it creates it. So from here, it kind of did. It kind of very close to what we have on our 2XU logo, which is making me crack up that it's very close to what we have. So yeah, so generate images, kind of what I want. Of course, I can add more of the guidelines basically that we were given, but that's basically kind of the cool thing when it comes to just being able to generate images. You can use ChatGPT to generate these images. Basically the prompt for the images for you. And again, if you are using ChatGPT Plus, you can just plug in basically the different tools that you might be using for generating images and be able to get that as well. So those are basically the main ways you can use both ChatGPT and Bard for your business.
Now, the main cool thing when it comes to both Bard and ChatGPT is you guys can share the link to your, basically the ones that you already have set up as prompts to your employees, to your clients, to whoever it is that you want to set this up with, because then they can start using the prompts that you have, or better yet, as a best tip, tip, if you don't want to share that with them, you can just go ahead and copy and paste the different prompts that you might have figured out yourself for using through ChatGPT and Bard, and be able to give that to your employees or your clients. Now, if you guys want to learn more about how to use ChatGPT for your business, I am going to start offering consultation basically on how to do this for yourself. Just take the scorecard that we have below. And of course, if you guys like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button right there and comment below what are the ways that you've been using ChatGPT or Bard, or do you have any requests for future videos for me to do? Let me know in the comments. And if you still haven't yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos every Sunday and Thursday on how to work from home and how to have a business from home, which you guys can check out those two playlists right here and the latest video right here. Hope you guys have an amazing day, and with the small steps matters, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!